So here's the thing about the YouTube or Twitch discussion and decision. He says to maybe nobody. I kind of just like Twitch more. I mean, part of it is like there's definitely more people there. I feel like YouTube, even as these last few ones have shown, it's like, some people show up. It's like, I just kind of like Twitch. I don't know. Maybe it's that hostage syndrome. But close my email just in case. Hey, Discordia. Hey, Cupcake. A good day to you both. Oh, I need to add a quick filter on this. I realize I do not have a limiter. And I want to make sure I don't go over like 3 dB. All right. Ah! Yeah, that's keeping me even more below it, but hey, all right. That's fine. How's my volume? Did my volume change at all, or is it okay? It looks like I'm fine levels-wise, but levels-wise and what I hear, not always the same. How's my day going? Pretty good. I finished up a game, and I was writing a review, like, literal up until I was typing stuff in like to make this go live. Like here's what the stream's gonna be called. Open OBS, all that jazz. Like I was finishing a written review. So I gotta go in and edit that. And then I have some stuff to like do that I absolutely have to do today. So I'm very busy. Hey, Deebs. Volume is good? Alright, cool. Thank you. Let's make this a big old title. Strong title. Let's just make it a title. I don't like that font. Oh, look at that font. That's not what I want. Comic Sans? Let's just do that one. Hey, yep, we are on YouTube today. For archiving purposes, it's easier to be on YouTube. Because if I only stream on Twitch, I then have to port it over to YouTube, which, you know, not that hard. But then I have to put it in my main video thing. It doesn't go in the live section, which means I'm going to eventually have to start doing what I used to do, which is taking them off of public viewing and putting them in a private playlist for live streaming. Which means I could just make a whole other channel but that's only if a whole other channel to just be an archive of live streams, but that would only be if I stick to Twitch. So life's so hard. All right, Cupcake, I was reading over your stuff that you sent me. And I didn't know if you had any other straightforward, here's what I need to, I want you to know, or any straightforward, here's what I'm looking for. That I can kind of tailor this around. Because I've got some base points that I want to ask you about. And kind of pitch in general. And, like, I'm very curious what other people have to say. Because you all play RPGs, and I like hearing what other people have to say. Usually have something useful. So like it is very open. But if there was anything specific that you wanted to bring up before I get into it. And now I sit here and awkwardly wait. And I definitely, a big thing I'm probably going to focus on if my ADD allows it, is the personal part. I think one of the things that makes villains so compelling is when they have a connection to the players. And not necessarily like, and you knew the villain. Ooh, the villain was a childhood friend. Ooh, the villain turned out to be your brother. Ooh, the villain was your mom. Ooh, like that. It doesn't always have to be like a physical connection, but that, you know, they have equally passionate goals to achieve the same end, but different methods. A villain I had for one campaign was like the world had like kind of split apart. Pieces of worlds had split apart and come together to form a new place made up of all the pieces. And the main villain was like, I need to restore these worlds, the pieces of these worlds, back to their original worlds as it was. And the players were like, this is our new home. This isn't the problem. This is now reality, and we just all need to deal with it. And that it was like they were both very passionate about fixing the world in different ways. And so that gave them, anytime they interacted, a lot of like philosophical back and forth on why they were doing what they were doing and why both groups thought they were correct. So yeah, fun stuff like that. We had a superhero game where the villain was starting, like, had a big company and was putting an HQ in the party's city, and they were like, no, we can't have this, because he started like paying off the cops and like doing up more and more things to gain power, and they were like, we can't have him doing this in our city. Let's see. I'm open to anything, really. Cupcake says, I want him to be a rogue build before they eventually kill him and have Cyric take over. Okay, what do I need to know about Cyric? Because I don't know much about, like, if it's a god you made up, cool. I am just as likely to not know about a canon god. So what should I know about Cyric? Also, assassin. Let's make some quick notes. Rogue. And is an assassin. I remember you writing that. God of lies, trickery, and strife. So they worship, if I have that name right, or if I have that term right, Cyric, god of lies, trickery, and strife. Interesting. That brings up a very important question that I have, that I put down because I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so they're a rogue and assassin. They worship Cyric. Luke, I am your father. Yeah. I know we don't look very similar, but I can explain. He currently tried to have 2 of the members kidnapped and sold into slavery. Ooh, okay, that's very personal. Tried to have 2 members sold to slavery. One being my husband's character. Okay, cool. That's a great connection. Here's my question on that. Why them? Was it a personal targeted thing? Like he saw these 2 characters and was like, F these 2 people specifically? Or were they just was just like, I'm gonna round up everybody right here and sell them, and then kidnap them, sell them. And they were just in that group. Did he know them beforehand? Had they done something to cross him or someone he knew? Like, is there a direct connection to the reason why that happened? I am curious. Bad guy is currently impersonating the queen. Ooh. And have her on their side. Oh, there's a huge festival about to happen when they are going to try to get him. Wait, so the bad guy is currently impersonating the queen, and the party is on the side of the queen, and they don't know the queen is being impersonated. Oh, the party found out where he was hiding the queen. Okay. My husband's character was the one who released her and carried her to a noble. Oh. Is that's currently happening? That's not why he tried to kidnap them. Or is that why he tried to kidnap them? Because he ruined their plans. Or is the queen thing happening right now? No, is currently impersonating the queen. Okay. Never mind, I just reread that. All right, so currently impersonating the queen. Party knows that the queen is a fake because they have the real queen. They rescued the real queen. But, like, a bunch of other people don't currently know that the queen is fake. Some people do, I'm assuming. Carried the queen to a noble. Obviously, that noble would know. Looks shifty at that description. Why would you look shifty at the god of lies, trickery, and strife? Should there be a god of lies? Like, isn't the ultimate goal of the god of lies would be to impersonate a different god? You know? Probably not. Might be too meta. That's their name. No reason? Yeah, no reason. Alright. So, currently impersonating the queen. So, I'm wondering why them. Because this all happened after. So, I am still curious. Alright, so, we're going to start. I'm going to add a couple of things. That's our notes part. Oh, okay. He tried to have them kidnapped to get rid of them. Yes, the people of the kingdom don't know that the queen has been replaced by a shapeshifter. Oh, shapeshifter. Forgot about that part. Very important. Only the party, 2 nobles, and 1 other person know. Ooh, okay. All right. So that's good stuff. Ooh. Oh, that seems like that would be a really fun scenario where you have the real queen and the fake queen, and you have a situation of how do you prove which one's the real one. I don't know if there's like a John Carpenter's The Thing test you can do on a shapeshifter in your world to prove if they're real or not. Or like DS9 changelings. It's like, we developed a test. We know. But that sounds fun because that's a bold claim to be like, you're fake. Could be really cool. All right. A real question. Oh, real queen is allergic to grapes and has poisoned herself before with wine to prove it's her to one of the nobles. Oh. can a changeling fake that? We're getting a little off topic here, but like this might be a good thing to do. So if she tries to do this again, okay, she's like, I'm the real queen. I'll prove it. Look at this wine. Oh, anaphylactic shock or whatever. I don't know what happens with grapes. I don't even exactly know what anaphylactic shock is. I just know that word or phrase from medical dramas. So like, oh no, I'm choking. Oh, I'm having trouble breathing. Oh, I'm turning a little purple. Oh, I don't know. They might need a a shot of whatever, and be like, I'm better now. But those are all symptoms that a changeling could fake, right? Like changeling could be like, hey, I'm not normally this person. I have changed the color of my skin. I have changed the texture of my skin. I have changed my hair. I have changed all this stuff. Oh, what's this, wine? Oh my gosh. Oh, look at me. I'm going to turn my skin a little more purple. I'm going to start faking choking problems. Oh, someone's going to hit me with a drug that's supposed to calm down an allergic reaction. Drain the color out of my face. I feel a little better. So, like, could it change? Like, I don't know if you have direct rules with changelings in your world. But like, is that a thing the changeling could fake as a good counter? Because that would be extra fun to making the villain personal. Is heroes come in, party comes in. This is a real queen. Prove it with this thing we've proven before. Changeling disproves it. Now they're in trouble. Uh-oh. Start having a seizure. You can fake those. A expert knows. I have a friend who was like a in the medical field in the military, and like one of the things he had to do was like figure out who was like faking illnesses. And so there are some ways to tell, but like a lot of it has to do with equipment. So, and knowing the signs to look for, because the dude who was one of the people who was telling me about had faked out other people with his symptoms. So it would be really fun to have them think they got the villain up against a wall. Villain totally pulls off a fake seizure, and now they're in extra trouble. And the villain can be like, Mwah. It'd be really, you could also, for making it personal, you know, maybe they'll fight their way out. Maybe they'll get locked up in a dungeon, and then the queen can come in and give them a nice, irritating speech while they're behind bars in the dungeon before they escape or whatever. Just to add a little salt in that wound, because you do want it to be personal. Totally throw that wrench in their plans. Nice. Yeah, because a big part of this is just personal. Like, why should the characters, your players, care about this villain? There are many a bad people in your world. There are dragons eating villagers. There are Cthulhian horrors devouring towns. There are dream eaters taking minds. Like, there's always bad things happening. Why does this situation matter? Make it personal. What did Deep say? I believe anaphylactic shock is when an allergic reaction makes your throat close. That would make sense. Because that's when you have the trouble breathing. So, throat close would make sense. Okay. So this is a thing with the queen. Have the party done anything directly against this villain? Also, what's this villain's name? So I can refer to them by name and not say this villain. They also don't know that the leader of the military has joined the villain. Wait, so the leader of the military knows that the villain is has overtaken the queen? Jindy. Okay. What's up, Scavenger? Says in a superhero plane, I gave a luchador villain, more of an antagonist really, showed up at a player's home, put an apron on, made enchiladas, and could talk so they could talk about a bigger problem. Yeah, that's a fun way to do it. Claire's villain's name to be Paul. Italian. Yeah, I like that trope of villain comes to heroes and goes, parlay, we got a bigger issue. Which is ultimately the same game I was telling you about earlier, where the party and the villain wanted to do two different things to save the world. At the end, a big thing happened. Actually, the villain's plan almost worked. Something he didn't calculate for went wrong, and it caused a bigger problem. And they did all have to team up to stop that bigger problem. And it was very fun. And it was even better than them defeating the villain or killing him. The villain did what he wanted because they failed. His plan messed up. And so they basically got to be like, I told you so, to his face. And he was like, yeah, okay. All right, you were right. Let's fix it. And then, they ended up not being buddies at the end, but working together. And then the villain being like, I was wrong. And, sorry for what I did. Thanks for helping me fix it. And, they went their separate ways. I know where you live. I could come here anytime. I just choose not to. Yes. That's a fun thing. Yes, Libertator is in on it and is... Did I? Sorry, ADD. Is my ring in my pocket? Yes, it is. All right, good. Libertator is in on it and recruiting and training soldiers for the army. They want to take over this small kingdom for Cyric. Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. Darkseid usually shows up. Sometimes shows up to people's homes. Delivers bad news and drink their booze and sit in their chairs. That is pretty funny. The influence of the goddess of the moon has waited on the island, and Cyric found an opening to take over. Who's the... I don't know who the goddess of the moon is, but I'm assuming that's Cyric's natural rival. So, if it's lies, trickery, and strife, it would be what? Truth, honesty, and good times? Is that what the god of the moon is about? I do like that the person in the military is on their side, because then they have complete plausible deniability of Queen said start building an army, so I did. Even if the fake queen gets sussed out, they could be like, oh my gosh, she was fake? Whoa, who could have known? She fooled us all. And is fine. And then if not, still has this army. Or even if does, then has, can convince the army, let's say the fake queen, Jindy, gets eventually found out, and a bunch of people turn against her. It is like, she's a fake, get her. And then the military guy is like, all right, my entire army under the queen, there's a whole lot of misinformation saying the queen isn't really the queen, and they've managed to infiltrate these other nobles, and they believe it. It's incorrect. I've been with her the whole time. You all know me. You all know the queen. We have to protect her. Now, even if they have, you know, a bunch of people against them, they have an army on their side. Do I have egg on my face? So about that, my giant army. Yeah. So you could do a lot with that. That's also a really nice way to do a ticking clock for your players. Is like, you know, hey, let's spend 2 years develop, or like let's oh, thank you, phone. Let's do. It's a great idea. Woo, thanks. So it's a good idea to do a ticking clock that way. So you have, you know, you hear tale of, or the players see, you know, recruitment stuff coming up in town, and it becomes clear that they're, you know, trying to bolster the army. Talk to people, hear rumors about how they're taking in a whole bunch of people for military training. Like, oh yeah, their pay went up, you know, they're offering land. Like, oh man, if you're in need, army's hiring. And so the longer the players take to rat out the fake queen and get people to realize it's not really her, the bigger the army gets. So they could be like, well, let's research this spell. Let's talk to this person. We don't think we have enough evidence yet. Let's get some more. Everything they do, every time they don't go right to it, that army just getting a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And when it comes to a head, that's going to be a harder and harder problem the more time they take. But if they do it too soon and they don't have enough evidence, they could be thrown out of court, accused of treason, whatever, and they're in trouble. So it's a good way to do a ticking clock. They have seen new Queen's Guard with compass stars on their shields, which those are loyal to Jin'di. Ooh, nice. So yeah, that could use, you could do that where it's like more and more often they are seeing these guards with compass stars on their shield. So like they see like, you know, a couple in a week, and then they're seeing like one a day, and they're seeing a couple a day. Like use that as the metric for them to understand things are getting worse. So they have a direct line of, uh-oh, time matters. Idea. I really like having feedback for players to understand that like the world continues on even when they are not actively doing a thing, or when they are like the world doesn't wait for them to get all their ducks in a row. These geese just be flying, baby. Okay. Oh, you say. So far, they've only seen a couple of them. I plan on having a lot more in the capital. Yeah. And have it, I would probably do it, depending on how long the campaign is and how long this is going to last and all that. Like, it would be a fun way to kind of space it out. Like, having it see a general, like, rather than, like, there's a couple, there's a bunch. Like, let that gradually go up. Ratchet that tension one rung at a time, maybe a couple at a time, maybe one rung at a time, and then a few rungs. It's fun stuff. I was gonna respond to that geese comment with honey bunny emotes, but I remember on YouTube. Yeah, write a letter to Twitch and be like, what the heck. All right, so make it personal. So ties to the party. Honk. I like you and Deeps on the same page there. Also, hi, Honey Money. Honks all around. So my first campaign I've ever run, we've had 27 sessions so far. Wow. Good job. I'm probably going to go until the end of the year. Nice. Okay. So that'll give you some time to space stuff out. I mean, you might not, I mean, with how games go, you might end up doing it much sooner than the end of the year. Like, things might get resolved way faster. They might find out some sort of foolproof way to suss out the fake queen, and then your plans are going to come to a very abrupt stop in that regard. You never know. So, plan for the future, but also plan for everything to change. Have contingency plans if anything changes. So sorry, between my work and stuff, I've been extremely out of it today. So where are we at? Give me a short version. There is a doppelganger. There's a shapeshifter that has impersonated the queen and is building an army in the name of Cyric, who's the god of lies, trickery, and strife. And the head of the army knows that this doppelganger, this changeling, is in fact not the queen, but is like, that's cool. We'll just, you know, build an army. The party is aware of it, has found the real queen, and needs to figure out how to get the real queen back into power. Okay, so Cupcake. Is there anything before taking over as queen that the villain, Jindy, has done directly to the party or has interacted with the party in some way? So, like, what ties to the party could Jindy have? So, religion, obvious one, if worshipping Cyric. Are any of the party characters religious? Are they aware of Cyric? Do they worship a god that hates Cyric, some sort of nemesis, or has problems with Cyric? Or just kind of knows more about Cyric? Is there anything that has to do with Cyric and maybe the history, like family history of one of the players, or their hometown, or their region, or something? That there's something that ties Cyric directly to these characters. On top of, all right, what about Jindy? How does Jindy know them? What has Jindy done to interact with them before? No, they never acted with him before. They were unaware of Cyric before this. They did make a deal with the goddess of the moon to take care of him. Okay. All right, cool. So this is like an outside thing. So this is where I feel like that level of personal agitation is gonna be important. So they are, yes, they are aware the queen has been replaced, Steves. So because they do not have a previous connection to this person, then you want this person to kind of, this Jindy to kind of just really get under their skin. Because they're bound. They made a deal with the goddess of the moon to take care of him. But that's just a job. That's just a 9 to 5. You want to make it personal. You want to have this guy irritate them. And it, my husband's character has home burned down. It could have done by one of his followers. If you think that'll fit, you can. That's something that you can leave open. That's one of the notes I have later, is making things modular. So being able to kind of pick up a piece and put it somewhere else, if you need them to get a connection, then you could be like, oh, you're looking into who burned down your village? Ha ha, turns out it was worshippers of Cyric, which is the information you needed to get this information. So you can kind of use that as a modular piece. You don't have to flesh that out right now or make it canon. But keep that. That's a good thought to keep in your mind if it'll be beneficial to use later. They know the head of the military is on the side. No, they do not. Yep, they do not. Okay, so modular. Picking up those, being able to move pieces around of information. They did just kill one of Jindi's top men, the one who was responsible for trying to kidnap 2 of them. Ooh, cool. That's good. So Jindi, well, I'm assuming Jindi knows, or you can, through circumstance, have them know that they're the ones who are responsible for killing this guy. That guy could have been very important to Jindi. Maybe best friend, maybe lover, maybe just really solid henchman, and was like top henchman, number 1, first class, right hand man. And that really threw a wrench, and now Jindi is irritated at them because they took out this person that was super helpful or super nice. Number 21. Dropping a villain into backstories to show them before they were bad or their wrongdoings helps. Of reference to them in the library saying they were in the area when something awful happened. Yeah, I would say don't do it too often, because you don't want everything to be like, oh, and this bad thing that happened, guess who was responsible? But like having some things, absolutely. It's hard to find good help these days, right? So hard. And then Jindi found him, and then they killed him. Rude. Very rude. Now you gotta get a whole new henchman? Whole new hench buddy? Or whatever he was? It's a lot of work. Where's he gonna fit that into his schedule? He's already impersonating a queen, trying to build up an army. Oh, man. I ain't got time for this. I've always wanted to... Deep says I always wanted to run a game where I straight rip off 21 and 24, but it's hard to incorporate something like that for characters the players wouldn't typically be around. Very true. Although you could give the, like, henchmen that they interact with, like the 21 and 24 like doesn't have to be their voices, but just, you know, their voices. So every time they're doing something with henchmen, it's like you're doing the same voices, and then they might start to be like, well, are these the same people every time? Like whatever's happening, they're always hearing those voices. Maybe there's also other voices, but like that they're reoccurring. That could be funny. In my mind, there should be some sort of personal obstacle for each party member, which will come up at some point, says Discordia. That is a great thing if you can have a personal obstacle, which is why I like how this person, the villain, ties into their past or their goals, and that you can use that specifically against them and to motivate them. Hey, how's it going, Larson? Argle bargle to you too. I mean, Twitch changed their policy, so now I can't dual stream on Twitch. And I want to make sure these get archived in the same way they have been. So I'm currently doing these on YouTube. And, you know, I still have to decide if I'm going to completely abandon Twitch or not. or do archiving on YouTube and keep doing Twitch. Because there are still more people on Twitch. So, like... Scavenger says, if you have an assassin shapeshifter, drop a reference to them being the captain of the guard for a minor noble that was overthrown, or the head of a group of mercenaries that were abandoned. Ooh, that could be fun. Cupcake says the queen told the party that she knew Jindy as a palace messenger who she had worked with for years before the Wayland. Oh, before he waylaid her and took her place. Ooh, okay. Nice. Like Larry the head shooter keeps working at various villainous organizations. It's a paycheck. It's a living. What are you gonna do? It's like I really wanted to have a character in a game that runs like a henchman temp service, but rents out henchmen to both sides of the conflict, like the heroes and villains. Just rents out to whoever's looking. Welcome to the Guild of Stooges. Yep. There was a punny name for it, and I forget what it was called. But I had a funny name for it. That doesn't help, because I'm not saying a funny name. Yes, she has been rescued. She has been rescued, but she has not been put back into power. Currently, it's just the party and 3 other people who know the queen isn't the queen. The queen isn't actually the queen. So that's a total of like 8 people, I think. So the party and 3 others. So that's still very, very hidden information. All right. So, I think the most fun I've had with a villain, says Larson, in my campaign was the one who wasn't even an antagonist. The party was just taken by someone to deliver a message to and escort back a certain NPC. That's fun. Scavenger asks, question, what's stopping them from just bringing the queen back and going, J'accuse? So that's actually what we were talking about, Scavenger, earlier, is how are they going to prove that this person is the actual queen while the queen is on the throne? So that's something the party has to try and do, which apparently the queen is allergic to grapes, has proven that her identity before by drinking wine and having an allergic reaction. But fun wrench that we were talking about was the changeling could fake that and then be like, uh-oh, our plan didn't work. Unbeknownst to the party, says Larson, said NPC was a vampire. She kept using vampiric domination on them to get her way and drinking their blood while they slept. That's... Oh, cool. So it was just like a bad person. Crossbow bolt to the kidney. They'll shift back when they're dead. I mean, if they die, yes, that could happen, depending on how shifters change when they die. But also, you would have to be in a situation where you can shoot the queen in the kidney. And she would have to be left alone long enough to die. I don't know if you ever tried royal assassination, but that usually doesn't go over too well. They were under orders, so they just put up with their nonsense. She left a strong impression on them. That's great. I love that. That's funny, Larson. Changing to knock, change back when they die. No, my mistake. I guess it depends. Figure out whether they wake up with reduced hit points. Oh, that's really funny. That is a pretty good villain or antagonist. 5 gameplay, we had a bunch of shapeshifters to deal with, and luckily I was a druid, so I could just moonbeam away. Have him change back when he dies. Okay, cool. So he'll change back when he dies, but that means you have to be in a situation where someone's willing to murder the queen. That is a very tall order. Simple test, cut off a lock of one's hair. One will eventually change. That depends on the lore, Scavenger. So, like, if you have lore of the critter that, yes, it's detached, so it will revert back to its natural state, sure. But you could also have lore where once it's detached, it is now locked in that form. Like, it is, like, I can move my hand, but when it's detached, my fingies ain't gonna move. Like, I can't do this anymore. So when changeling hair is detached, it's just going to stay as it was when it was detached. Depends on the lore. That might be something that they can look up and to think about for Cupcake, is if they do research on changelings and how to identify, what will they find? Can they cut off hair? What if the cultural norm of the area was to cut off a lady's hair without consent? You have... Oh, yeah, like that's a real bad thing. To be honest, if someone just walked around cutting off hair of random people, that would be pretty faux pas. They get in trouble. If you cut off freaking a politician's hair, president, royalty? No. That ain't gonna fly. If you're only 27 sessions in, I'm guessing the villain doesn't have access to 6th level spells, so Scatter wouldn't let them swap position with the queen if they try and take them out. Ooh, I'm not familiar with the Scatter spell. That just swaps position? All right, so we're talking about why them. Modular. All right, so I'm going to do a quick thing on this before more text comes up. So keep your ideas modular. Be able to move them around as necessary. So, like, don't have... Here are... If you have... These are the 5 pieces of information about changelings that players can discover if they research. And they have to research at this location. And they have to research... And they will learn from this NPC. And... that NPC will know this other person who they have to talk to get reference to there. Keep those things modular. They talk to someone and they need to know about this librarian. The person they're talking to has that information. That'll lead up to it. They don't talk to anyone. They just go straight to a place and try to learn a thing. You have the information they need. Boom, plug that right in. Don't have to worry about those NPCs. So be able to keep stuff coming in and out and moving it to different areas as necessary. That's super important, I have found. I say it all the doggone time. Keep stuff modular. All right, then I'll move to the next thing after catch up on chat. Actually, I have the party start at level 3. I have 3 people who have never played before. And we all won a super fun campaign. Aw, that's cool. Comedy Man, hey, it's been a minute. Dang, I haven't seen you for a hot minute. How are you doing? Just popping in to see what's going on as I order food, shopping for the week. Love the beard and hope you're doing well. The beard is always when I'm just busy. Like, there's a few times I've grew it out for, like, a costume. And that's it. It's if you see me with facial hair, it's because I am woefully overbooked or woefully bad at time management, which is also why this is long and not shaved. So, got my girlfriend into Adventurers Nigh and 5E now. She loves Mortimer and Grinderbin. Yay! Get more people into tabletop, and that's cool. And yay! I'm glad that she's enjoying Adventurers Nigh. And of course, I'm selfishly glad that she especially enjoys my character. It's great. But I hope you're doing good, Comedy Man. Lets you reposition up to 6 people within 30 feet of your location within 120 feet of you. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, so you have to do a wisdom save. Got it. Is it the only changing around? Asks Scavenger. If you have an ally of the party who could be replaced and found out, it could throw a lot of paranoia into the group, especially if they've ever been separated. Oh. Yeah, so you make a fake infiltrator and be like, oh, this person was a changeling. Who else among us might also be a changeling? Ooh, we shall test everyone. Yeah, that could work. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, it seems like YouTube's character limit's pretty short. Comedy Man says, sorry, it's been many minutes since I was last here. It's been a manic time, but always happy to see you streaming. You should keep the beard. It's a vibe. Thank you. I don't hate it. There are parts that I don't like this part. Like, I have this weird racing stripe right here on both sides that doesn't quite connect here. And these, they're just like thin little pillars between the mustache and beard. They never grow in. None of that grows in. So it's like oddly patchy. But I'm glad that you like it. Thank you. Also, on topic, I never usually start a campaign at level 1. It always makes weaker characters. Starting at level 3 is still low, but allows a bit more backstory for leveling. Yeah. I usually don't play D&D, but yeah, I feel like level 1 is honestly not a good starting plot. I feel like 3 is like, even I want to say, even if you're, the problem is level 1 isn't fun. Level 1 is good for teaching the game, but it's not good for enjoying the game. Level 3 in like D&D Pathfinder stuff is when you can enjoy it. But if you're new to it, that's even more to learn, and that makes learning harder. So like, ugh. Wash, condition, oil the beard, and it will grow fuller with less patches. Really? I mean, I do wash it. Would the oil and conditioning is gonna like make hair grow where there's no hair though? Level 1 D&D is a rocket tag. But yeah, so say you, but there's, you can cause problems with the fake change, or the real changeling as a fake impersonator. Because what if they get found out and then it's like, changeling, kill him. And you're like, no, we have to interrogate. And they're like, no, we're going to murder him right now. And like, now you've just killed your ally. What if it's found out that you're the one that purposefully planted the person? Now your suspicion of changelings everywhere just looks like you're suspicious. Like you're trying to cause a problem when there wasn't a problem. Deep says same. I usually start with 3 to 5, so we don't have to do a couple of nothing sessions where players can't do much. Yeah, because at level 1, even when you're down at like level 3, a lot of times your role matters infinitely more than the numbers you've put on your character sheet. Like when you have a +2 strength and you're like, I'm so strong, but you're rolling a d20, like the +2 means almost nothing. The die roll is what decides. And it's later on in your leveling where your actual character choices matter as much as the die roll does. Then the party have a hard time finding the queen. Allies to overthrow the queen since they revealed the changeling myths. Current campaigns also start at 3. Hey, Crawdad. Yeah, I feel like for those games, three's a good number. Level 1 sucks, but also run one-shots called NPC stories where it's just a bunch of basic stats and one ability. Getting them to play NPCs for a good fun plan. Oh, that sounds cool. I like that. Monday. Hi, Monday. How are you doing? Comedy says, especially if the NPCs in the game are based on previous sessions, see how they would have reacted when they know what their main character did. Oh, that's really funny. I love that idea. That's a good one-shot. Like a series of one-shots, different NPCs. Cupcake said having another changeling would be absolutely interesting. Would the other changeling be working with the party or working with Jindy or on their own? It is Rocket Tag, though. You can survive a couple of 1d2 rat bites, but a single swing of an actual weapon can instigate you. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. It's Rocket Tag. Like, at level 1, especially if you're, you know, a more fragile class, you can't hit anything, and you can die in one hit. Like, everybody... no... All your enemies have golden guns, and you have a clob. Little golden eye reference there. But yeah, you are extremely fragile, and things can absolutely kill you in one shot or two. And you probably cannot kill them in 2 shots. Monday says, doing very great. Thank you guys are going to beat Dante's Inferno tonight. Very much excited. Real's reaction to final boss. For Satan's swinging hoo-ha, yeah, I'm excited too. I don't know how close. I'm assuming we're going to beat it tonight. I don't really know if we're going to beat it tonight. But yes, we are playing it tonight. Because I don't know how close we are to the final. But, like, it seems like we're close. Seems like. Not sure if they would try to help the party or work with Jindy. Ooh. Maybe based on the you could have that be a almost a morality feature, Cupcake, where like there is a changeling that's aware of the situation but doesn't know how to intervene, and if the party acts morally correct, they learn about that and they go, okay, I think I can trust these people, and then is a changeling willing to help them. And if they act like a bunch of hooting dickholes, that changeling could be like, but these people, they're freaking nuts. I ain't going near them. They're going to get me killed. And now they do not have an ally because they were acting like doo-doo heads. I don't remember where we left off. Remember this. Satan swinging what now? The one thing that I remembered about Dante's Inferno from a friend who played it back in the day was that when you fight Satan, he has a giant swinging dong. That's just out and about during the fight. What circle are we at? We beat lust. We beat greed. Or gluttony? We beat gluttony. I don't remember if we beat greed or not. No, we did beat greed because that was our dad. Gluttony was a different monster. Pretty sure. So I think we've had 2 or 3 boss fights. But what's her name is in her full like vagina Venus flytrap dress and is open mouth kissing Satan. And I love that a game made me say that sentence. Aw, Deeb's got ahead of me, but I love it. I'm gonna follow up on Deeb's and say, what is Jindy's backstories and motivations? All the sins start to blur together after a while. They do. Like, gluttony and greed really were not super differentiated. Lust was differentiated because there was, like, a lot of boobies. And it was like, oh, okay, this is a clear theme. And then the other two was like, stuff? And then they're all connected by flaming buttholes. Again, very happy a game is making me say these things. And they make sense if you've played the game. But yeah, what is Jindy's origin? What's Jindy's, what's his motivation? Why does Jindy worship Cyric? Why? What are they getting out of? What is he getting out of this relationship and this worship? Like, that's a big thing for me is why are they, like, especially when it's like religious based like this. They're specifically worshiping Cyric. Why? What do they get out of a god of lies, trickery, and strife? Because it seems like a very possibly fickle god to worship. Because it's like, I promise you great things if you do my work. And it's like, I did great work for you. And then the god is like, ah, tricked ya. Hoo hoo. Boo, 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 boo. Thousands of years. I can't believe you dipshits can't fall for it every time. Ah, ha, ha, ha. So, like, I am very curious why Jindy is so hardcore worshiping this god and trying to bring their vision of whatever to life. Oh, wait, Stream Chat deleted my message. I guess it auto-nixes stuff with links. Oh, maybe it did. Maybe I don't have that open on YouTube, just on Twitch. I don't know why, because I didn't see it. Honestly, I've not given it super amount of thought, but this is making me think, says Cupcake. Okay. So, like, that's a good thing to think about. What is their motivation? Why are they doing this? Why Cyric? Why Assassin? Assassin is... You don't... Like, if you want to murder people, you could just do that. Like, Assassin is very much a thing that, like, you got trained for. Like, that's like playing games casually and playing games at a professional level. Like... Both are playing games, but one is just playing at a much, much higher caliber than the other. So why? And is that something we can flesh out here? Is that something you want help with? Or are you like, no, I'll do that on my own. We'll work on something else here. So answer me that so I know if we want to stick with that or not, because we got about 45 minutes left. Monday says the Mogabong on the hardest difficulty gives me flashbacks. I don't know what the Mogabong is. How is being the queen a step towards their master plan? Says Scavenger. It's a great question. Well, they're building, I believe, the army. If I remember correctly, they're going to be building up the army to do something in Cyric's name. I think that's where the queen part comes in, is that they need the army. Hey, alternative, since they don't believe he's the god of those things. They've been tricked. Oh! I don't know why anyone worships Cyric. I love me some evil deities, especially when they can offer something compelling, but Cyric and Bane feel like they should have no worshippers. I mean, if there's a lack of worshippers, then it sounds like that's free real estate, baby. Like, you worship a god with no worshippers, you get 100% of their attention. And probably more of their power. Yeah, they might be hard to work with, but like, who you go worship, the god of peace? Freaking everybody's talking to that person. You never get any time. You get like one calm yourself spell a day because its power is so distributed all over the place. But the god of strife? Who wants that? There you go. That's all you, baby. Take it all. But that is a question of why Cyric. As Larson brings up. That I'm also curious of. Is like, yeah, why that one? Disgrace says, when I played Neverwinter Nights, I think they pronounced it Shirik? Sirik? I don't know how to pronounce S-I-H. Sahrik? Actually, if Cyric handles Strife, you'd think they'd want a challenge to be found. A changeling to be found after a while. I don't know. I feel like you'd have more strife with a changeling not being found out and tearing people up. I think I can work that on my own time, and I'm 100% going to. Okay, cool. Keep us informed, because I am curious. So we'll talk more broad strokes. And then you can use that information as you build it. Deep says, yeah, given the nature of the god who's working for betrayal, wouldn't be out of character. I would say on the subject of like lies and trickery and strife, betrayal, all those things, is Cyric. Oh, okay. Cyric. Got it. I might remember that. So like the god of betrayal. Think about like victory points in a board game. You have someone working for you, and you get 10 victory points if you out them as working for you. You betray the betrayer, you get 10 victory points. But you get 1 victory point for every person the person working for you betrays. And they're currently betraying 20 people. That's giving you 20 victory points. So if you betray them, you end up with less betrayal. You end up with less victory points. So it behooves you, as the god of betrayal, to not betray this person, because ultimately they're doing so much more betraying, it's benefiting you even more than you doing 1 betrayal. Does that make sense? Victory points. I was just playing board games last night, so I have victory points on the mind. So just because they're a god of things doesn't mean that they like have to do that thing to you or to anybody. where like the god of trickery. Sometimes you do a nice thing so that someone goes, you know, Cyric, not that bad of a god. Like, I prayed to Cyric the other day, and like, dude dropped like a whole bag of coins on me. It was great. And people be like, maybe Cyric isn't that bad. Maybe, you know, maybe it's like you're actively tricking people. Damn it, Jesse, I want to play that board game. Yeah. Cyric's Domain. That's the name of the game. We'll make it. But if Cyric wants the kingdom thrown into chaos as a real queen, and the military fight for control, the party might need to convince Jin'di to surrender and sneak the queen back. I mean, maybe, but only if it benefits Jin'di. And also, the god of, you know, lies, trickery, and strife, chaos might not be their goal. Like, you know, maybe it still works out for them. Or maybe it's like, oh, their goal isn't to throw it in chaos. Their goal is to do something else. So it might not throw it into chaos. Larson says, worth noting that Cyric used to be a mortal human who attained godhood during a time of divine upheaval. He was also a god. He was also god of the dead for a short stint, which was not a good time to die. Ooh. That's fun. Just kind of interned at as the god of death for a while. All right, let me look at my notes, because I want to make sure I hit all my talking points, because we got about 40 minutes left. Okay, so make it personal. Ties to the party, religious and our god. So you have the direct thing with the moon god, and that they are tasked with dealing with Jin'di, because the moon god was like, Ish is wild. Take care of this, please. And they were like, okay. I know it's probably not exactly how it happened, but you know. So anything ties you could do between that, something you could use to strengthen or encourage or intrigue players, or if they need specific information, again, talking modular, have it be like, the moon god knows something about this. Let's ask the moon god. Or the Church of the Moon God. So now you have a way in for kind of inserting information as needed. How rivalries work with that between those gods. History with family, hometown. You're talking about one of the players' hometowns burned down. If you can tie that into Cyric or something, cool. If that adds to the story. I would definitely caution against it just to be like, ooh, don't you hate Cyric now? Like, it needs to be narratively fulfilling for that to work. Otherwise, it's just erroneous information. Not erroneous, just pointless extra information. Like connections for the sake of connections that don't really make a difference. He was the god of death, Larson says, after Michael died. Michael died. But before Kelemvor took over, a good chunk of Michael's clergy hastily converted. This was to got horribly tortured. Don't be bad for them though. Malker was quite evil. Rude. Why be evil? After Macklemore died? Yeah, after Macklemore. Always think of your information and all your parts as being modular. Being able to mix and match pieces where you need to. Shift information when you need it. Who has what information, where they get it from. No, it's Michael. This is Michael. Oh, yeah, moving stuff around. Also, Knowing the history of the god can help. Also, the secret history of the god, like, or like very limited information, so like that they were a god of death for a while. Maybe you can use that as a tie to something else to make a connection or add a little wrinkle in somewhere. Like, oh, he used to be the god of death, is now kind of chummy with the god of death. So when they killed somebody who mattered, maybe this very important henchman, Sir Cyric, was like, hey, Mackle, god of death, real important person of mine just died. Can you, like, not take their soul? You want to do me a solid here? You kind of owe me one. Can you just hand that back to me? And Mackle is like, all right, I owe you one. And now you have a resurrected person who was very clearly dead. Why was this person resurrected? Maybe that's something they could find out. Where they, the god of death, they got a little thing happening, little tit for tat. Used to work for him, or used to be the god of death. They owed him a favor. So, like, hey, fun stuff like that. Also, you can use gaps in history and gaps in knowledge and conflicting information, conflicting accounts of what happened, or different mistakes. They chopped off his head. So, like, I mean, yeah, they chopped off his head, but, like, if the god of death said no, what are you gonna do? Death said no. So they could come back. Maybe they put him back in their body and they sew their head back on and they got this, like, sweet scar going all around their neck. You could do a little, like, Ghost or Full Metal Alchemist situation where it's like, all right, well, the body's dead. Death is like, Mackle is like, hey, look, I could stop the soul, but, like, that body's dead. I mean, I'll give you the soul, and then it can, like, you do with it as you will. And then Cyric can, give it power that it can be a ghost, or give it power so it can possess an object or something like that. So you have your Full Metal Alchemist suit of armor. So, you could have something like that. Or you could have them just go back to their body and sew the head back on and just be like, this is very painful, but also I'm alive again because death said no. If you wanted to. Not something you have to do, but knowing that, death and Cyric have a history, you could use that to your advantage if you want to. Do not have to. But yeah, using conflicting information of different accounts and texts and things can be useful, and to kind of lead your players in specifically right or wrong scenarios. So you said you were going to do more about Jin'di. So what's Jin'di's deal? Why are they doing what they're doing? Why do they want to be an acolyte for Cyric? What do they know about Cyric? What do we know about Cyric? What do players know about Cyric? What do they get out of worshiping Cyric and doing all this? Also, why assassin? What about their personality, their history, their drive, their motivations makes them go, I want to be an incredibly skilled person at quickly eliminating people from this mortal coil? I think that was my major points. All right, so I gotta check up on chat. They chopped off his head, so what? Decapitation. Sometimes it doesn't stop you. Larson says it's funny. There's actually a lot of drama about Kilmakur not having the authority that he'd like to have. He's good aligned by nature, but the other gods are forcing him to judge in a neutral manner. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. Tali says, I love reincarnation. It's true. Although if you reincarnated, generally that's like a baby thing. So you'd be like, oh, well, this person, can you reincarnate them? But like, you're going to reincarnate them as a baby. So it's like, it's going to be a number of years before they're useful. Crawdad says, I can imagine people appealing to Cyric or Bane for help to accomplish something within the gods' portfolios. Like how someone in ancient Rome might invoke Disparter when cursing an enemy. Yeah! But only real out there dudes would pick them as a patron deity. Yeah, so if you want a lie to work or a trick to work, yeah, you're gonna go to Cyric because you want that lie to work. There's a god of lies. Maybe history was a deeply hostile history. If the reincarnate spell doesn't make you a baby, it randomizes your species. What? But you get reincarnated as an adult? Like, do you just magically form an adult body? Or do you push a consciousness out of a random person? I'm very curious. All right. Those were my major notes I had. That's how it works. I said it 2 ways, so I'm not sure which that is. I think that just makes you a new body. But Discordia, which one? Yeah, spell creates a new body. Oh, okay. For you to bring you back to life. But the species is random. Okay. So that could work. Because you are playing D&D, so it could do a reincarnation spell and bring henchmen back randomly. And then if that henchman had like voice or mannerisms or anything, then you can have them be like, haha, acting the same way. And everybody could be like, this is suspiciously like the Sire person. That's if you want to do that. There's no pressure to do that. The one that you said when I answered, but your answer comes up after I've asked. So it's not, like I have a delay from when text comes up. So like I'll say a thing and then I don't know how long it's been when new text pops up from when I was talking. Especially if I get off on a tear and then don't check chat for a while and then look and there's just like an answer to a thing with no context. And I was like, I don't even remember. I don't know how long that's been there. I don't even remember what I said half the time. Spell creates a new body. Okay. Are you touch a create? 10 days spell new adult body. Okay. It gives me a lot to think about. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on when Cyric embodies him? Oh, okay. So tell me about this Cyric embodying. I forgot. That was like a big thing you wanted to do. What is your goal with Cyric embodying this person? So I'm just gonna say like narratively and story-wise, what is your goal with Cyric embodying him? And just as a personal question, does Jin D know that's an option? Like, is Cyric going to try and embody Jin D while Jin D's still alive? Is it after he dies, I'll just use his corpse and like puppet it around? Yeah, I'll stop there and then ask more. The The one you said when I answered it, it's not my fault. YouTube delayed you noticing my message. It's not your fault, but we have to account for it. Another piece of Cyric history, he gained the portfolio of lies by murdering the Lyra, formerly the chaotic neutral goddess of lies, illusions, and dreams. Ooh, interesting. Wait, so who got illusions and dreams? Those realms go to a different deity? A lot of her followers thinks it's just one of her tricks. Ooh, that's clever. Anyway, the way I saw it in action, it didn't so much create new one as reshape the old deceased one. Shadar Kai ended up as a Goliath. That's fun. I like the idea of having a body switch for a thing. Like, if you die and come back, like, you're not coming back exactly the same. Story-wise, Cupcake says the goddess of the moon wants them to oust Cyric and his worshippers off the island. So this is all taking place on the island, correct, Cupcake? Now I'm picturing a huge plot of Cyric to be in the body that everybody will want to kill so he can go confront the god of death in a sneak attack. That's funny, Scavenger. Sounds like a YouTube problem. A lot of things are a YouTube problem. Tally says, ironically, YouTube delay meant that he didn't see your comment about YouTube delay until he had already made an entire speech on the subject. Yep. Yeah, that's irony, baby. I was thinking for him to embody Jinti to try and wipe the party out because they killed his biggest worshiper, who was trying to take over the kingdom in his name. Which is... Okay, so if I have this correct, Cupcake, Jinti is Cyric's biggest worshiper. And so when the party kills Jinti, Cyric will be big mad because that's their plans gone to waste. So they're going to be like, well, if you got to do something right, you got to do it yourself. And then he comes over and takes over Jinti's body after death to seek vengeance. Am I getting that right? And yes, it is an island kingdom. Cool. Okay. To be fair, if I was like a prominent god on an island kingdom, I would also be like, hey, there's a lot of worshippers of this god of lies and trickery. I need you to go over there and tell him to GTFO. So I'm with the moon god on that one. You could also do something, says Larson, with the Cyrinishad? An indestructible artifact. It is a magical book that will brainwash the reader into thinking Cyric is the only true god. Oh, that's a fun thing. Notably, after he arranged for his creation, Cyric read it. That's funny. Yes, that is what I was thinking. Okay, so they're gonna... So, like, the goal is to die, have him get killed, and then Cyric come over. Okay, so what is... That seems remarkably straightforward. You have a god that was doing a big plan, a group of people that disrupted that god's big plan and killed the person enacting it. And now God wants revenge and takes over corpse. That's pretty nasty. That it does seem very straightforward though. Like, is there a twist you want, or like a specific challenging scenario when that happens? What is your idea or goal with that? And like, there's no wrong answer. If you're like, oh, I just wanted to have a cool epic boss fight with a god, be like, that valid, okay, like let's work from there. Or like, oh, I really wanted to, you know, have something else. Like, I just want to know what you want out of that to work from that point. Trickster God and God of Lies. Maybe he doesn't want revenge, but just wants the party to think he does. So they end up giving him something else. That, yeah, you could have that be a thing where, like, threatens war unless appeased through some other means, when really they just want the other means. Cool epic boss fight, something to really challenge them, make them feel like big damn heroes at the end of the fight. Awesome. All right, let's talk about big epic boss fight here. So you've got, this is perfect. You have the God of Lies and Trickery and Strife. Work those into the mechanics of the boss fight. So you have, when they're making an attack, they make a perception. So God takes over. Cyric takes over body. And is like, I hate you. I'm mad. I'm gonna tear up this island. And then the party's like, oh no, we gotta fight him. So they go to attack and like make a perception roll. And then you have them seeing things that aren't there. You have them attacking each other. You have illusions of each other attacking them. So like, you could have one person think they're going for Cyric, but they end up hitting a party mate if they don't make a check or whatever. If they don't notice that that's not actually what's happening. So I would absolutely play up the lies and trickery. Where like you have them not knowing what they're hitting. Have them, you know, accidentally hitting each other. Have faking deaths. Having like, you know, a storm come rolling in and lightning crackling down that's gonna like sweep over them, and it's like, is that really real? Like, do we have to avoid that or not? Like, really play up environmental and mechanical bits that have to do with making players question if what they're seeing and doing is real. And then giving an idea of how can they out-trick or outsmart or outmaneuver Cyric and his tricky strategies to actually defeat him. So that's like the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know if is that kind of what you were going for? Is that what you're thinking about? Or are you like, no, that's not at all what I was thinking about? Because that could make for a really epic boss fight where you have like them constantly questioning what's going on. And at that point, you're not dealing with an HP sponge where it's like you want to have a big god fight. And it's like, oh, well, how do you make a god powerful? Oh, well, it's going to, you know, they have like 10,000 HP and it's going to take forever to kill him. You know, they don't need to have that much HP. You don't even need to write down a number. You could just kind of have it be fluid for when it feels right, and just have the main struggle being they need to they need to know what they're actually doing versus what this god of trickery and lies is making them think they're doing. Like, they're, and it's like, again, trying to do this as many different ways as possible, like never doing it the same way twice. So like one time they go to hit somebody and they think it's their friend, and another time they hit Jindi's body Sirik is possessing, and someone else loses health. And like maybe that's not even true. They hit him. You actually mark that Sirik takes the damage, but then you make someone else take damage and mark that down, but they didn't actually get hit. Have them be like, oh, you're fighting, and you start coughing up water, and you're taking you're taking damage, and like turns out you're not attacking, you're face down in a puddle and drowning. Like trying to do as many different things as you can, playing around those themes to just confuse and disorient. All right. Thoughts on that? Your thoughts? Because like these are my thoughts. Like I'm spitballing to try and like get your wheels turning. What are you thinking? What do you really like? What is there anything from that you want to use and that you want to like expand on? Or a different idea that you want to like pitch and bounce ideas off of? As you said, I love that, which is great. Hooray. I'm glad I'm not throwing the worst ideas out here. But I am curious because this is your campaign and I don't want to just tell you a bunch of things and be like, Jesse thinks this is cool, so like you should think this is cool. No, it's your campaign. Everything that's done should be like you think it's cool. I also love that. Thanks, Steves. So yeah, that's what I want to know what your thoughts are. Like specifically. But I gotta catch him on chat. Talion says, at some point I want to build a character based around chaos, wild magic, the most random spell effects I can find, etc. Talion, that is an entire topic we could get into, is like the goods and bads of random. Of like true randomness in RPGs. Because man, do I have some opinions about that. Scavenger says there's magical artifact called a magical artifact Sirik wants, so he gets the party to retrieve it, believing it will reveal Jindi's plot afterwards. A plant of his squirrels. Afterwards, a plant of his squirrels. He squirrels it away, so it can't be used on Sirik directly. Oh, that'd be fun. Lars says have him impersonate the PC's loved ones during the battle. Bonus points if he also kidnapped them. That would be funny. They're like, you know this person is missing, and now you see them. It's like, is that the real them? Cupcake says, that all sounds great. I love the idea of making them see different things while fighting. Making them relive some of their worst memories. So when they go to attack, they must make a saving throw. If they fail, they miss the attack. Otherwise, or whoever is closest to them. Or attack whoever is close to them. Yeah. Like, really play up that stuff. Also, God of Strife. So, like, you could, like, those painful memories. That's pretty, yeah. Struggle and strife. Yeah. It's pretty good. And have something. I mean, it is a god. They do have some level of power. So, like, don't make everything an illusion. Or a lie. Or a trick. Like, what makes a good trick isn't that everything you're doing is false. What makes a good trick is what you can't tell what you're doing is true or false. And to do that is to mix in some real things. So like, there's a big lightning cloud coming in. Is that real or fake? Shock the crap out of you. That one turned out to be real. So, yeah, trickery isn't about always being fake. So I would definitely keep that in there. Because that also takes away the tension when it's like, oh, I'm seeing a loved one that's kidnapped. but I know the cloud was fake. I know attacking my friend was fake. I know that when he disappeared and faked his own death, that was fake. I know this is fake. There's no real internal conflict. You have to introduce that level of uncertainty to make it work. Deep says, I think having stuff like that is important for a D&D fight. If things get too straightforward in fights, they get boring real fast. I totally agree. Attack hit. Meh. It's like, yeah, attack hit, attack hit, attack hit, attack miss, attack hit. Like, all right, we get it. Like, I like having that dynamic change. That's why I think it would be fun having, you know, like kind of a less total hit point. And also you're dealing with like a mortal vessel a god is encompassing. If they kill Jindi's body possessed by Cyric, they don't kill Cyric. They remove his vessel from this plane, but Cyric just returns to their plane and now has a grudge against them. Fun. Telling says the problem with misdirection is that it can take a lot of prep and have enough things to keep players on their toes. It is a lot of prep. Which I think for the amount of prep work would also behoove, I love that word, you to have it be more of a shorter fight where like it's not about doing 10,000 damage, but having players outsmart this person. They might be able to do that in a few rounds. Might take a few more than that. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of work to have that many things to use to deceive them and trick them and be real. So I agree with the Italian. It is a lot of work. Lars says, man, I decided to look up Cyric's stats in 3E and holy crap, he is overstatted. Dude's got more class levels than Chante. I don't know who that is. One of the oldest and most worshipped deities in the entire setting. It's Fighter 3, Rogue 20, Assassin 10, Illusionist 20. Wow, that's... I mean, but like, as a god, is that unreasonable to be level 53? Like, you're a god. Like 50 seems like a minimum. I remember XP to level 3 video about Tituvalus. His stat block could be a good source of some ideas. Tituvalus is an archdevil who's not a physical powerhouse but has some other things. But he's really intelligent and cunning. Ooh. He can also go invisible, teleport, throw his voice, charm, dominate people, polymorph, etc. Ooh, yeah, that does seem like it would be a good source of inspiration. Huge thing. If you're going to do a boss fight, I got 8 minutes left. I bet this won't take me 8 minutes. Cupcake. You're going to do a boss fight. You're going to do a single opponent. Everybody versus a god. Do yourself a favor and give your character reactions. Like, action economy is just so powerful in D&D. If you have a character that has one turn against a party that has, 5 turns, because there's 5 of them, they could get wiped out easily, quickly. They get tangled, they get stunned, they get beat up, they get whatever. Like, don't worry about Cyric's initiative. Like, have Cyric have kind of a big turn, but give Cyric just a ton of little turns. Like, every time someone does something as a reaction, I think it's called, Cyric can do some sort of lie or trickery. that the person who's acting has to deal with. And this should start as Sirik enters. This is not a, well, on Sirik's turn, and 3 people went before Sirik, so those 3 are actually going to go without a hitch. And then because this happened, he's now at a disadvantage. Like, no. When Sirik shows up, that it starts. Like, their slot in between everybody else and wherever their main turn is predetermined. It's there. It's set. You get absolutely destroyed. Or you can. You might not. Major bosses get legendary layer actions that aren't constrained to turns in 5e. Yeah, so like think about that in terms of like legendary actions and multiple ones. Again, this is a god. Like, make it ridiculous in a sense. Don't make it ridiculously impossible. But like, oh, a dragon only gets 1 layer action per turn. Okay, it's a dragon, not a god. Who cares? It only gets 1. Gods get more. Deal with it. Like, give them that ability. And that it automatically starts when they enter. They don't have to roll initiative to get that thing a-going. Larsa says, Chauntea is the 3rd oldest deity in the realms, is the goddess of earth and agriculture. She was statted as Cleric 20, Druid 20, Ranger 8. Well, that's even less than, yeah, that is less. But again, that's only 48? That seems weak for a god. Come on. They're a god. So it's like he'd be invisible, speak from afar at the end of the room, far into the room, and then teleport behind, party squishy, and stab them. Yeah. It's a good way to do Italian. No reactions, just legendary actions. Just endless, not endless, but like multiple legendary actions. A legendary action that triggers whenever a player does the first action of their turn or whatever. On a call, so this might not be relevant anymore. Hit him with classics. Everything is fake at first to lull them into a false sense of security. Then boom, the next one is real. Says Steve's. Also note that deities in the Forgotten Realms have automatic knowledge about events pertaining to their portfolios. Sirik would have advanced knowledge of any attempt to trick or ambush him. Ooh. That's good knowledge, Larson. So, tricking the god of trickery, probably not the best way to do it. Not the best way to go about it. Never thought about it like that. Makes total sense. Yeah, like, who you gonna out trivia the god of knowledge? That seems silly. Try and lie to the god of lies, trick the god of trickery. They gotta figure out some other way. Maybe multiple copies of himself. Haven't figured out which one is real. Yes. So like that would be like a single thing where it's like, boop, 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 boop. There's like 6 of me now. What are you gonna do? Freaking magical hats, baby. Played my trap card. So like, yeah, that would be one use, one time. Yeah, that's a classic, is make multiple copies of yourself. What would be really fun, also, if you make multiple copies of yourself. Like, they hit one, it vanishes. They hit another one, it vanishes. They hit a third one, it goes, oh, that hurt. And then they're like, that's the real one, keep hitting them. And it's like, oh, ooh. Joke's on you, suckers, I'm still fake. Poof, goes away. After, like, several hits. And it'd be like, and then the other ones laugh. So, like, really, really trick them. but do the actual like one hit poofs before, so they don't think that this is also not a thing. Stuff like that. It is 2 o'clock. I gotta stop. I got stuff to do. Italian says also look at Demon Lords for reference on chaotic layer actions and deception. Ooh, good idea. Yeah, I would honestly, for like deception, just have a bullet point or an Excel sheet and just write. Just be like deception, multiple clones, fake storm, stab friend, stab self, fake stab friend, like, and just make a list of stuff that you could just, if you is whenever you need a thing, you could just be like, here, or you just make a list. Like, don't even worry about if it's good or not. Have a list, and then you can choose what you want out of that. Keep the others set aside. If for some reason you run out or you need to change something and you can't think of anything on the fly, check that list and be like, oh, here are the ones I didn't use. You know, I could twist that one into working. All right, cool. So yeah, that would, I also just like making lists, so maybe that's just a personal thing. But I feel like for this situation, that would help you very much when you need a whole lot of things to use to deceive players. Thank you so much. It was very helpful. You are very welcome, Cupcake. I wish you so much luck. I think you're going to crush it. It sounds like you're having a good time. Sounds like players are having a good time. Seems great. There it is. Bye, Larson. Thank you. Deep says, use my favorite trick during the fight at random points. Just ask players to roll a check. Any kind of check. And then just say, okay, and continue on. Yeah, I love that too. The check is nothing. It will establish the paranoia for the fight like this. Like, oh, you want to attack? Okay, roll insight. 20? Okay. Continue. Yeah, and just like, does that change anything? No. Does that make them nervous? Yes. Or say something specific, you know, like, oh, roll perception. Oh, I rolled a 18. Okay. You don't hear anything weird. Like, should I have? Like, play it up. It's fun. I got 15. Oh, interesting. Yeah. The roll stuff is really fun. Also, for God of Trickery, a thing I would personally do is I would make rolls that a player makes the result for another player's roll. So, like, I would have a player roll like that, and they get a 15, and be like, okay, the next player that rolls, whatever they roll, their result is going to be the 15, because that's what the first person rolled. And that, like, trying to do, like, weird stuff like that. See if they can figure it out. But give people the opportunity to learn the deception and then be able to use that to their advantage. Maybe the real God of Lies was the DM who played with along the way. Random die rolls are up there with you don't find any traps for making players anxious. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, I'm stopping for today. This isn't Twitch, so I'm not rating. Cupcake, you're going to crush it. I believe in you. Feel free to ask questions whenever you need to. That goes to everybody, really. I love questions. I love RPGs. They're great. Thank you all so much for being here. This was a good time. Where's my thing? There it is. Leapfrogging. Yeah, exactly. Player A's result. Player B's rolls, but it's using player A's result. So they don't know that, like, they rolled an 8, but because the previous player rolled a 15, they actually made it. But now people think, oh, well, 8's high enough, and then it's not. Yeah, leapfrogging results. Or leapfrogging the rolls. In regards to your conundrum, it would be against Twitch rules to stream there, then upload the VOD here. It is not against the rules to stream on Twitch and upload the VOD here. That is perfectly fine. I just cannot dual stream. That's annoying because to upload the VOD here, it will no longer go into that live tab. When you click on my channel, and then there's like videos, and then there's live. Currently, all of my streams are in the live channel. But if I put the VODs over here, they're going to wind up in the normal videos channel, which means the edited stuff keeps getting pushed down. And then after, like, you know, 3 or 4 lives, I have to go, all right, I'm going to make this I'm not going to make it public, and I'm just going to put it on a playlist. So you have to look for the playlist to get to the stuff. So it's a pain. Like, it's just weird. As far as I know, no, there is no way to upload a VOD to the live tab. I will double check myself on that, but I'm not sure. Could just put the edited stuff in a playlist and put that at the top. When you go to video, I don't think it'll just do a playlist. I think it just shows you everything. If I'm wrong, please tell me how to change that, and I will do that. Because that sounds like a better option. But I have not seen that option. But I'm not an expert. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You're great. I wish you the best on all your RPGs and all your other stuff. I'll be playing Dante's Inferno on Escapist tonight. There's videos on your main channel page. I'm going to ask you what you mean by that, because I'm not sure which tab you're talking about, like the home tab or the videos tab. But I got to go. So I'll ask you Discord or something. Or you keep talking in here, because this chat will stay up for a while. But I got to leave. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's the wrong tab. That's the right tab. Bye!